This is Joshua K. This time, I will tell you about the reason why God created man from clay. Of all the creatures God created, the most beautiful is man. That is why the human soul, as well as the human body, is made in the most elegant and dignified form. That is, it is made in the most appropriate form to contain the holy image of God, and is truly God's greatest masterpiece. But we cannot help but wonder what such a beautiful and precious being, human beings, were made of. Truly, human beings were not made of the shining materials of heaven, nor of the twinkling stars of the sky, nor of jewels like gold or silver. God made human beings, the lords of all things, out of the most insignificant dirt that is most commonly trampled underfoot. Then why did God make human beings out of dirt? First, it is to prevent humans from exalting themselves. In the Bible, dust means something worthless. General 18:27, something shameful. Job chapter 42 verse 6. Death, Ekel 3:20, and weakness, Ps 109-14. Therefore, the fact that humans were made from dust means that they were made from the most worthless dust from the ground. This clearly shows that the original origin of humans is the insignificant dust of the ground, and nothing more than dust. Because our roots were made from such insignificant dust, we humans cannot proudly boast before God. Nevertheless, arrogant humans boast about their wealth and power. However, before that, all humans must deeply realize the fact that their roots came from dust. And if we realize that human beings, regardless of their wealth or poverty, are made of dust and will return to dust, then no one can exalt himself before God and will only be humble. Second, to make us grateful for God's grace. A human being who has realized his own fundamental nature should now be moved by the fact that God has transformed him from the lowest state to the most precious being by his grace, and should be grateful for God's grace. Indeed, we humans cannot exist on this earth even for a moment without God's grace. Therefore, if we do not realize that God has given us life and made us precious through His creative power and grace, even though we are just a handful of clay, then there is nothing more ungrateful than that. Third, it is to awaken us to the fact that humans absolutely need the breath of God's life. Although humans were made of clay, humans are still more than flesh. A flesh made of clay alone cannot be more than an animal, but when God personally breathed breath of God's life into the nostrils of a human made of clay, humans became more than flesh. In other words, they became more than a lump of clay. In other words, by receiving breath of God's life, humans became persons with souls endowed with the nature of God, unlike lower animals. The meaning of this is that humans become animals when they leave the nature of God. How many people on this earth today are physically healthy, but their souls are separated from the nature of God, living animalistic lives, and are spiritually dead? Originally, when God created living things, He also gave them a place to live. That is, He gave plants a place to live by taking root in the ground, fish a place to live in the water, all kinds of animals a place to move and live on the ground, and birds a place to fly in the air. In that sense, the true place for human life is in God's arms. That is, only when people live according to God's words and will can they live a true life as true human beings. This is the only way and method for people made of clay to become noble creatures more than clay.